Hello friends, this is Chandrakant from Akulmac Technologies and welcome to Top Brass DQ. And the DQ stands for Digital Quotient. And in this series, our objective is to increase the DQ for every citizen of the world. The objective really is very clearly defined. It's basically increasing the ability to understand the digital world in a much better way, and this is the first chapter of that series. There are 24 more to go. This chapter is focused on digital identity. So let's discuss about the digital identity and how it affects. So as you see, the identity of a human being is really the uh, his face and his name and his signatures. So that is how the identity of a person is captured. But when it comes to digital arena, then how do you make sure that the same identity of a person which is in physical world is captured into the digital world? So this is really the definition of digital identity, which is exact replication of the person's physical identity or organization's physical identity, application's physical identity, or a device like a mobile phone or a tab, etc. So I think it's important to understand what is digital identity and how it is correlated to my physical identity. So, as we are moving forward into the 21st century, I think there will be a time when the digital identity will exactly match your physical identity. That means whatever you do you on the digital media will be tracked directly to your name and to yourself, and the time is very near. So I think it's important for everyone to understand how to create your digital identity and how to match it with physical identity. So in this session we will discuss what is your digital identity. So as you know that when we say that when we log in into internet, that becomes my digital identity. So what you would use to log in is basically a username and a password. So using that you will log in into variety of applications like email or a Facebook or Amazon, and this is the trend everywhere, whether you are in Malaysia, US, Europe, or in India. You have to have your username and password defined to get started and to start using the internet. And many people will think, hey, that becomes my digital identity. That means my username is my digital identity. And that is not the case at all. See, what happens is after you log in into system, you may use the system in variety of ways. You may use, if you are a businessman, you may use to see your stocks. If you are a student, you may see it to study online or to check your scores. Um, if you are a casual user, you may want to share your pictures. You may contact your friends via Facebook. If you have an opinion about some subjects, you may tweet using the Twitter platform. If you want to explore business opportunities on the web, you may log in into LinkedIn and try to see who can be your business partner, check the opportunities, job opportunities or business opportunities. So, so these are the things that you normally would do. And lately, a lot of e-commerce has also come up in a big way, where you go to online portals and buy things of certain types. So some people may buy gadgets more, some people may buy dress material more than other things. Some material will like some people will like to check out what is available today, which is or the prices are moving up and down of different commodities. Many people like to just survey the market, so do window shopping using Amazon, see what is latest coming into the market. So you see the impact of digital world is so profound today that you not only log in to check your emails, you log in to read news, you log in to buy your things, you log in to get your groceries, you log in to see what are the opportunities for you. You share your pictures and different events about your personal life in Facebook, and if you have an opinion, you also express your opinion using Twitter. Apart from that, there are other areas like hospitals. Nobody is keeping any record in a physical format. All the history of a patient goes into some sort of a system. It is immediately digitized, kept it as a record. So you see, if you summarize all this, your identity today is made of various aspects. It's not only dependent on the username that you have chosen. It is actually your behavior on the internet. It is tracked and segmentized you in a particular bucket. So what happens is, if somebody is looking for a certain segment of people, you will come into that list. Say some business is looking for trying to sell insurance, and they want to basically reach out to people who are in the age group of 25 to 35, and they had certain behavior, and if you happen to show that behavior on the internet, automatically you become their target audience. So the behavior plays a major role. How you basically use the system plays a major role in determining your identity today. Going forward, it will be even more smarter to track you down. So it's not only your username, it is how you basically use various systems on the internet, and that becomes part of your identity. For example, if you're doing a review of legal systems, so the chances are either you require some help, so lawyers can proactively reach out to you, or you are generally concerned about legal system, you want to give an opinion. So the legal fraternity would be informed that so and so person is trying to make inquiry in the legal system. So you see, it doesn't matter what name you have. You can name yourself Casanova, but it won't matter, because your identity is a combination of various factors today, and everyone in the world must know how their identity is being maintained or being viewed on the internet. So it's important. So I think we have understood what is the digital identity, and we have to see that our identity is not misused. Uh, Things like your personal physical appearance has identification mark. If you fill out any application today for any admission, they will ask your identification mark. So you would say, hey, I have a mole on my forehead, or I have uh, 11 fingers. So everyone has some identity. I have a scar on my left hand, right cheek, etc. Everyone would be having an identity, and so your face becomes your biggest identity. So there was a time when the finger scanning used to be considered as a foolproof identification, and about 10-15 years back, there was a huge ho-halla about biometrics and all that. Now even the biometrics can be fooled. People have realized that it's the finger scanning data which is kept in certain database, and that can be hacked, then your identity can be lost. So industry has moved along. They are not dependent on uh, the finger scanning as a password. So the emergence of finger scanning basically happened because it was easy to have a finger scan as your password, because your finger scan is very unique. In fact, there is no other person in the world which will have your kind of a finger. So logically it was felt that finger scanning is the best method, and that way you don't have to remember your password, and you carry your finger always with you. So all you have to do, give your username, scan your finger, and that's it. You're in the system, you're in the internet. But then it also had a lot of pitfalls, and because of that, now the emerging trend is the face recognition, because your face is your exact replication of your physical personification. So capture the face into the system in such a way that it exactly matches your digital identity. So world is moving towards that. And now this technology is so advanced that even if you wear a mask on your face, you can still be identified. So for example, if you walk into a bank, there is a CCTV camera capturing your image, and that image will, even though you have put a mask on your face, can identify you as XYZ. So this technology has evolved to so much, very rapidly evolved into this arena, and that is why it has become very very powerful, and it's much closer now to replicate your personal identification with your digital identification. So I think even though you have multiple passwords in the system, say for example Facebook you have one password and LinkedIn you have another, and you may think that hey, I'm trying to protect myself by having different passwords and different usernames, but that won't help you because your identification is captured by the face. And this technology is now available across multiple platforms. In fact, the mobile players have come up in a big way. All the mobile handsets devices have the face recognition, so you don't have to press a finger, you just look at the mobile and it opens up. So this is where the world is moving. So that is why it is very important to know your to capture your personal identification into digital world. And how do you do that? And also protect it, because once you have come closer, uh, you have to make sure that your digital identity is not misused. So because there are various threats which are available today, and which can there are some people who are out there to steal your identity. So that, for example, I would say that if you some people give their date of birth, and they manage their passwords using their date of birth. So it's very simple for any hacker, a smart hacker who can, if your date of birth is known to him, he can crack your password. So things like that, even though when you're capturing yourself into digital world, you have to ensure that how you're using the system, that is going to reveal you in the digital world. And if you're also giving information like your date of birth, etc., that can be misused against you. So how do you prevent all that is the question. So we will tackle some of these things. See, the whole thing is that if somebody is trying to steal data of say 1 million people, the easiest way to do it is use unprotected Wi-Fi systems. Say Wi-Fi in a lounge or a coffee shop or an airport or in railway station, which are not very well protected Wi-Fi. Why the hackers who are trying to steal your identity will use this method? Number one, it is easy to hack in because it's not protected. Number two, they can easily hide themselves. See, it is like this: somebody is trying to steal your identity and steal your data. They will like to first conceal themselves because they are obviously committing a crime. So they don't want themselves to be exposed while they can see all your data. So I think this is the easiest method by which they can reach out to you. So make sure that even though somebody says that hey, use a free Wi-Fi in the lounge, don't get tempted and get connected to a free Wi-Fi system in a lounge. Similarly, when you see unprotected web page, don't click on that, don't go to that page itself, because what happens is, for the same reason that people who are trying to use unprotected web pages, they will very easily conceal their own identity. And when you are browsing something which is not protected, in the backend they will have some sort of a software running which will capture all your data, your pictures, your documents on your PC without even you knowing about it. So make sure that don't look at the web pages which do not show the lock sign on the left hand side top in your browser. So these are very very important keys. I think everyone should make sure that they don't have caution not to look at the unprotected websites. At the same time, a lot of phishing activity happens. So what is phishing? It's basically some a bad person sends you an email posing as your banker, for example. So you get a email from your banker saying, hey, why don't you click on this web page to revalidate your credit card or revalidate this XYZ things that the bank wants. So make sure before you start clicking at that email, because the email will capture the logo of your bank very nicely, but when you look at the website carefully, there will be one or two spellings here and there, some spelling mistakes. So before you start clicking on these phishing emails or any email from a bank, make sure that you read the web link carefully, very carefully. The chances are most of the bankers don't send you any email. They will not send you any link to click. Rather, they will ask you to visit their website and then use their banking system. They will not send you an email. So the things are small things like this. If you take care, the chances are that you will be safer, and your identity will be safe as well. The best method to protect your identity is to use a strong password. So what is a strong password? Strong password is not your date of birth and if your name is Alan 223355, not like that. So it's very easy to crack. What you have to do is basically uh, give special characters at special, use alphanumeric, sometimes capital letters and sometimes small letters, and also use special characters which are very difficult to crack or very difficult to imagine, because the special characters like star, hash, they do not correlate to anything in your personal life. So it's very difficult for anyone, even your known people, to crack your password. So make sure that your passwords are very strong. Use special characters, use combination of capital letters and small letters. At the same time, change your password frequently. Even though you are using a very strong password methodology, but still it is advisable to change your passwords frequently. Make sure that you have the two-factor authentications enabled across all platforms. So if you follow this the strong password, chances are the systems will be much more secure for you and people will not be able to hack into your personal data. And the last is privacy policies. So when you want to share some picture with your friends, but you don't want to share that picture with public, all that is determined by the privacy policies of your social media accounts. So the privacy policies of the social media accounts are regularly updated by the social media players. So you have to make sure that these policies are reviewed by you regularly. If there is a change, usually the social media players will tell you about it, that this change is happening, and make sure that you read all these policies carefully and enable those features which are meaningful for you or which you want. Make sure that certain pictures of your family gathering you don't want to share with a lot of people. So make sure that you define your privacy policies, your privacy levels in your social media accounts, to make sure that your identity is not thrown open for anyone uh, to know about. So these are certain things that um, if you follow and do these things, you will be much more literate in terms of understanding your digital identity, and there is no point in assuming anything that, hey, if I have my password secure, I have a strong password. Your behavior itself will reveal a lot of things about you. So make sure that you have the right behavior when you are using the digital systems. Also make sure that you change your password, and very important, make sure that you use a face recognition technology wherever is possible, so that you use the best of the breed which is available to protect yourself. So with this, I will end the session today. Dear friends, write to me, give your comments about this. Anything else you want me to include in the next session, we can do that. I can take up the questions raised by you in the next session. But until then, I like to say goodbye and I wait to hear from you. Bye bye.